Hi, we're back! GameFreak just dropped Part 1 of the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero DLC for Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. And if you watched my video covering the base game, you should know that I have a few choice words about it. Ah! I don't want to play this game anymore! Ah! We're continuing with my blind Nuzlocke, picking up from where we left off from last time. And just in case you're not aware, these are the Nuzlocke rules. If any Pokemon faints, it's dead. You can only capture the first Pokemon you encounter on each route. All Pokemon must be given a nickname. We're playing no duplicates. Oh, and if you black out, restart the game. And since we're playing the Teal Mask DLC, if I black out, I start from the beginning of the base game. Our survivors from our previous playthrough were Chug-Jug the Dondozo, Bellamere the Shiny Bronzong, Boeing 767 the Bomberta, and Goon the Fluttermane. So, let's kick this into high gear and this puppy. I boot up my game and check my party, only to find this fucker. Garchomp, the Garchomp. I honestly got no fucking clue and or recollection of how this guy got here. I never caught no Garchomp, and Garchomp is certainly not a nickname I'd give. From what I can tell, it was caught at the Great Crater of Paldea, and I never leveled it up once. So I immediately thought of that flying Garchomp I ran into, but I never caught it, and that happened on my second failed run. So I just don't know how she got in the team, but I'm not gonna question it any more than I already have. Welcome to the squad. We get a message from Jacques telling us that we were randomly selected to go on a school trip to the land of Kitakami. So, heading over to the school building to initiate the content. It's here that we meet Briar, a teacher from Unova, who will be overseeing our school trip. Also, who the hell are these other kids? And what the fuck do you think you've been doing with my mother, Jacques? She doesn't even know how to do the bloody dishes. We make it on over to Kitakami and find ourselves in the rice fields, our first new route, whilst we progress with the plot. Unfortunately, there was nothing interesting here, so I just skipped over the route. We enter Masui Town, and here we meet our central cast for the DLC. Carmine and her little brother Kieran, or Kiki, are our friends for the foreseeable future. Carmine, who seems pretty confident in her battle capabilities, forces us into a battle. This was my first fight. I wasn't really sure on what to expect, but I wasn't expecting to be fighting against a level 60 Poochyena. Just evolve the cunt. I absolutely destroyed her team, but it was also here that we see the first new Pokemon introduced. A convergent Sinistea. Poltergeist. Instead of a ghost possessing a teacup, it's possessing a container of matcha, an Asian green tea. I don't feel a particular way about this guy, but I reckon I prefer it over Sinistea, so there's that. Hey kid, phrasing. I'm not looking to get cancelled. I beat her in a Pokemon battle. A Pokemon battle, thank you. In any case, everyone meets up at this community center and calls it a night. The next morning, we're introduced to our current objective and learn that Carmine and Kiki are students of Blueberry Academy, a school that specializes in battles. Yeah, I think not. We're to split off into pairs and find 3 signboards around the land, a little orienteering exercise, or, as I like to call them, glorified fetch quests. But I don't want to team up with any of these losers. That sounds like the worst possible way to spend my time. Leaving aside those no-name peers of mine, I don't want to hang around with either of these guys. Carmine's one thing. She's just barely tolerable. But Kieran? Kieran's a little loser baby soy boy bitch. I take Nimona over him. Nimona. Oh, what I wouldn't do to see Clive again. But, whatever. I just gotta choose Carmine, and I should be sweet. At least I got a selfie stick out of it, and wait. Hold up. Hot Nurse Joy! Yo! I love to see that the animation is still horrific, but hey, she's hot, so it's okay. Thank you, GameFreak. This has made my $52 Australian all worth it. Kiki challenges us to a battle, much like his sister. Absolutely dog shit. I hate this, but at least the caretaker was having a good time. Nah, you both suck. Wait, I'm sorry, Kami. No. Anything but that. Don't make me team up with him. Please. Ugh. Well, at least he fucks off right after. I took some time to explore the area next. Once again, it was all barren and empty and unappealing. Once again, there was nothing of note to capture in Kitakami Road, nor was there at Revelers Road. Though, I ran into Jacques, who happened to sneak his way into the trip. He gives us an egg, so I guess whatever it hatches into will be my encounter for the route. I checked out this place called Kitakami Hall, which was pointless and empty, and then I found myself scaling Oni Mountain with Koraidon. Nothing cool on Oni Mountain either, so I skipped the encounter yet again. But inside of a cave within the mountain, the chilling waterhead, I accidentally bumped into a wild swinub, which I accidentally killed, voiding my encounter for the route. Whatever, it's not like there was anything cool in there. Oh, and my egg hatched into a Chimchar, which I blessed with the name of Luffy. And after just 2 battles, he evolved because all the wild Pokemon are around level 60, yet none of them have evolved. Okay. I make it to the summit of the mountain, the Crystal Pool, otherwise known as Lag City. Generally, this DLC/game doesn't run smoothly, but this place is next level. Also, you wouldn't have guessed it, but there was nothing cool to capture, and that goes for the Infernal Pass as well. I got fed up with exploring this shitbox of a map and continued on with the story by meeting Kiki at Loyalty Plaza, the location of the first sign. We passed through Apple Hills to get here, no Pokemon of note. Reading the signpost, I learn about the lore of the land. It tells a tale of the legendary guardians of Kitakami, the Loyalty 3, as they drove away a dangerous ogre. Kiki seems to sympathize with the ogre, however, probably because he's also a loser, and then we meet with him at the dreaded den, the alleged home of the ogre. Thinking the fun sounds of a battle might lure it out, Kiki challenges us to another battle, but he sucks. Stomped on. And yeah, Ogerpon shows up, but Kieran and us, Cook Nudge, don't see it. Kiki invites us to go to the Festival of Masks together with him. No, that sounds miserable. I don't have a choice, do I? Fine. We go to his house, and his grandparents set us up with this sick fit. There's this whole back and forth about only having 2 masks and shit, but I don't really care. I'm cool without a mask. Though this ordeal prompts Carmine to challenge us to a battle. She actually puts up a pretty decent fight, dealing some damage. She decided to evolve her fucking Pokemon. I mean, who would have imagined that would have helped? In this battle, we meet a Sinistcha, Poltergeist's evolution. I like him. He's just a little green blobby guy, and he has a rad hat. Well, we enter the festival. It's garbage. There are 6 stalls, 5 of which are accessible, and all they sell is food, which I never cared for. Also, what is this render distance? People are bleeping out of existence left and right. We see that Ogerpon is chilling about in the festival, masqueraded by his mask, and we go around the festival with the siblings. Here's a new little mini-game, Ogre Oustin. We ride on Koraidon and break a number of these coloured pots, then bring the berries inside to the base. It's very simple, very easy, and very nothing. Oh, and as a reward, we receive the EXP charm. This charm increases all the XP your Pokemon receive because GameFreak figured this game needed to be even easier. And then Cook Nudge and Carmine run into Ogerpon, who gets scared and runs away, accidentally dropping the Teal Mask and leaving without it. The next day, we meet with Carmine at her house, and her grandfather tells us the truth behind the legend of Kitakami. Turns out, the people got it backwards. The ogre and its human companion were outsiders from another region who were shunned by the town. They weren't bad, just misunderstood, and probably really ugly. All the village folk shunned the two, save for the village mask maker, ancestor to Carmine and Kiki. The mask maker made 4 beautiful and elaborate masks for the ogre and human, allowing them to hide their true identities and befriend the people. But then the Loyalty 3 rocked up, and it turns out they are fucking cunts. They bust up Ogerpon's place, steal 3 of the masks, and probably killed the human. In a frenzy, Ogerpon defeated the 3, but all the townspeople saw was a crazed ogre that beat the shit out of heroic Pokemon that tried to vanquish it. We promised to keep this a secret from Kieran, because we agree he's a little bitch that would mold over not getting to have seen Ogerpon. But the little prick was eavesdropping on our conversation, and now he's butthurt. We meet Kiki at Paradise Barrens to check out the next sign. I once again skipped my encounter for the route. The only cool thing were Jangmo-o, but I wanted something new. At the signpost, he challenges us to another battle. He still sucks. I absolutely demolished him. But on his team is now a Dipplin. Dipplin seems to be a convergent Applin, mimicking a candy apple. It's basically the same thing as Applin, but all drippy. I was looking forward to see what it would evolve into, however. Oh, and Luffy evolved into an Infernape. We part ways for the day, and I meet up with Carmine. We had left the Teal Mask, which had been chipped, in the care of Carmine and Kiki's grandfather, the day prior. We need some fancy schmancy crystals for the repairs, so we make a plan to meet at the crystal pool. Carmine invites Kiki along, but he's still being a whiny little bitch. Back at Lag City, we're jumped by a massive Milotic. It was decently higher level than us, so I was a bit nervous, but together Carmine and I one-shot it. We call it a day. The next morning, we meet back up with Carmine to grab the mask, now that it's been fixed. But that weaselly little prick Kieran stole the mask. We find him at Loyalty Plaza. God, he's such a fucking loser. Once again, he forces us into a battle, and I roll him. Oh shit, he's going berserk. And then, likely due to the proximity of the Teal Mask and the battle, the Loyalty 3 rise from their graves. It's pretty cool, I won't lie. These guys are neat. Oh, but also, see what you done, you little stupid fuck? This is why no one likes you. We track the 3 back to the dreaded den. Seems like they want to settle things with Ogerpon. Before they can do so, however, we step in and battle Monkey Dory. GG, easy. And after Carmine and Kiki show up, they all run away. So, I just saved Ogerpon's life. We've had a connection since the start. But this kid has the fucking balls to say that he wants to be the one to return Ogerpon's mask. Sit down, little bro. You are nothing. You had to steal the mask to get it. Fuck off. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Now, it was time to hunt down some legendaries. We return to Masui Town to collect info on the whereabouts of the Loyalty 3, so I go around talking to a bunch of people. Unconnected to the main story, there's this photographer, and damn is she fine. This is Perrin. She is by far the best character in the DLC, but unfortunately, I can never get to know her. She wants me to register 150 Pokemon from the Kitakami Pokedex, but I can't really do that because of the Nuzlocke. I also fought this rich couple who kept calling me a commoner. Do you know who I am? I am goddamn Cook Nudge from K-pop boy band BTS. Don't fuck with me. I head on over to the Wistful Fields to rematch against Monkey Dory. I figured he'd be the safest bet, seeing as I already beat him once and figured out what his type was. Poison Psychic. But, oh, he got big. Yeah, earlier when we talked to the caretaker, he told us that he gave the 3 other masks from the legend to the Loyalty 3. They'd been stowed away in Kitakami Hall for generations. So now they're buffed and they're kinda like Titan Pokemon. And similarly, it's a 2-on-1. Carmine and Cook Nudge work together to defeat it. However, Things do not go as smoothly as I would have liked them to. I start off with Bellamere. I'd be immune to poison and normally affected by psychic. Carmine assisted me with Morpeko. I go for hypnosis, but it's rendered useless when Carmine paralyzes it with Morpeko, and Monkey Dory begins setting up the first of its nasty plots. Well, whatever. It's the same difference. Hex should still do massive damage. Are you serious? I switch in Boeing 767. Dark type, immune to psychic. Monkey Dory continues to use nasty plots. He hasn't done anything else as of yet, but meanwhile, Carmine has been putting in work. Her Morpeko is also super effective against Monkey Dory. We do a good bit of damage, but Monkey Dory releases the first of its attacks. Sludge Wave one-shots Boeing 767. Rest your soul. Let us all remember the 11th of September, 2001. Morpeko holds on with a focus sash. I switch Bellamere back in and just plan to tank hits while Carmine does the rest. It works. You know what, Carmine? You ain't half bad, but your brother sucks. He returns to normal size and runs off, dropping one of the masks that gave him the power. We return it to Ogerpon. So, let's talk about Monkey Dory. I fucking love him. Most appealing thing is his name. Brilliant. Monkey. But his design is also great. He's just a vibe. I get massive stoner energy, and that also coincides with his attitude of just lounging around and being lazy. Plus, he got some cheeks on him. I also really liked his boss fight. The fact that he set up nasty plots and take advantage of the fact that he could soak up hits was sick. Great fight. Next up was Okie Dokie at Paradise Barrens. Seeing as I was man down, I caught myself a Jangmo-o. I named him Cha-Cha Slide. And thankfully, because all the wild Pokemon are such high levels, 2 rare candies, and he was a Komodo. Oh, and I blew the rest of my rare candies trying to get Luffy up to snuff, but there was still a considerable level gap. Going into the fight with Okie Dokie, I was thinking that he might be grass poison. The poison because Monkey Dory had it, and grass because he's green. But then, right before the fight, Carmine talks about his bulging biceps, so I switched to believing it was grass fighting. It was poison fighting. I sent out Goon and used Dazzling Gleam. It did jack shit. Okie Dokie used Poison Jab. Dead. Rip Goon. You will be missed. Let's pour one out for the lass. I switch in Bellamere and go for Hypnosis, but he attacks first and I barely survive a close combat. Then I miss it anyways. Oh, and by the way, Carmine's Morpeko was also useless. I use a Max Potion and Morpeko hits a Thunder Wave. Okie Dokie lands another close combat. This time on Morpeko, but it holds on with Focus Sash. I lay down a Future Sight, and thankfully, Okie Dokie attacks Morpeko again. Carmine brings out Mightyena. Mightyena uses Takedown, which didn't do much, and I deal massive damage with Extra Sensory. Mightyena misses. Okie Dokie deals a good bit of damage to Bellamere, but I kill it with an Extra Sensory before my Future Sight could even hit. Like Monkey Dory, he shrinks, drops a mask, and runs off. Okie Dokie is sick. Much like Monkey Dory, I absolutely adore his name. He's got a solid design, and he just feels right. Using the toxic chain they all have as a collar is a nice touch, and generally, he's an awesome, big, beefy buff boy. I went straight to face off against Fezandipede next. I was pretty confident in assuming that it was Poison Flying. I led with Bellamere once again. She was really pulling through as the MVP of these fights right now. This was a slow and boring battle. Carmine was pretty useless throughout the fight, and Bellamere didn't do a lot of damage, but at the same time, Bellamere would tank all the hits. I just whittled away at its health, while Fezandipede absolutely murked Carmine's squad. Like the others, she drops the final mask and takes her leave. I really like this chick. The design is beautiful and elegant. It reminds me of Ugiri from Zombieland Saga. The best one. The only thing that I dislike about her, however, is that compared to Monkey Dory and Okie Dokie, her name, Fezandipede, sucks balls. We receive the final mask, and Kiki finally shows back up, and he's all like, I want to take the ogre home. Trust me, bro. So that's what we do. Ogerpon is scared to go back into the town because it's always been treated as an outcast and everyone hates it and thinks it's ugly. But apparently, Kieran went around telling everyone the true story and shit, and people were all okay with everything and didn't question a thing the weird kids said, even though it challenges all their beliefs, a point which had been stated earlier by the grandfather. Yay! Everyone is happy now. It's time to take Ogerpon back home, to the dreaded den. Once we get there, we bid our farewells, but, as you would presume, Ogerpon wants to join me on my journey. You fucking what? You're really fucking doing this? What is wrong with you? After Carmine suggests that Ogerpon wants to travel with me, Kieran goes off and challenges me to a battle to see who gets to keep Ogerpon. Little bro, you have done literally nothing to help with this case. You've been more of a hindrance, if anything. Whatever. Time to give this wanker a fucking smackdown. I start off with Cha-Cha Slide, and Kiki starts off with Shiftry. It looks like he finally has a proper team, and he actually has higher level Pokemon than me. After flinching on my first turn, I one-shot the Shiftry with Close Combat, but it held on with Focus Sash. I finished it off on the next turn, and had only been brought to a bit below half health. I switched in Chug Jug to face off against Yanmega. It deals a good chunk of damage with a Bug Buzz, but I did a little more with Avalanche. Same thing happened on the next turn. Chug Jug was in the red, but he got the kill. It was Bellamere against his Probopass. I missed my Hypnosis, and tanked a Zap Cannon, paralyzing me. Tanked another Zap Cannon, but this time the Hypnosis landed. Let me just say, I didn't notice this in my initial playthrough, but I reckon the sleep animations are really neat, especially Probopasses. Didn't expect GameFreak to go that far. I go for Hex and deal a bit of damage, and on the next turn I go for an extra sensory, but Probopass wakes up, hits me with a Zap Cannon, and I can't move because of paralysis. Also, my future sight went off, and did jack shit. Wasn't very effective. I went for Hypnosis, but it missed again. Holy fuck! Why does it never land? Well, I take another hit, and get left with 2 HP, so I switch in Garchomp. I hit it with a dig, and it goes down. I switch the barely living Bellamere back in, and heal on my first turn. Kiki's Poliwrath deals barely anything with its Ice Punch. Next turn, the Poliwrath deals a good chunk of damage to Bellamere, but I do heaps with extra sensory. Unfortunately, it eats a Citrus Berry, and health was restored. No matter, I heal up to play it safe, which was smart because Close Combat was dealing more than half health. I cycled this a handful of times, knowing that Close Combat only has 5 PP. Once it was out of Close Combats, I finished the job. Next up was Chug Jug versus Gliscor. I was in the red, so I healed up on the first turn and tanked an Earthquake. Tanked another, and dealt almost half health with Aqua Tail. We repeated, and now we were both in the red. I healed and killed it on the next turn. The last matchup was Garchomp against Dipplin. I knew from a previous battle that Dipplin has Dragon Pulse, but that Garchomp is faster. However, I also know that my Dragon Claw just barely doesn't kill it. So I prepared a big brain maneuver. My first terrestrialization of the DLC. A boosted Dragon Claw should be able to take it out. It survives, and Garchomp dies to a Dragon Pulse. Fuck! I don't know where you came from, but I'm sad nonetheless. I switch in the GOAT, Bellamere, to finish the battle. 2 extra sensories and I win. So I can claim the right to have Ogerpon. A right that I already had, and shouldn't have had to battle for. Yeah, you suck. And so, I immediately go to capture Ogerpon, but not before it tests my strength in a boss battle. This is the best fight of the DLC, and easily one of the best fights in the entire game. Against Ogerpon, there are 4 phases in which he terastallizes a different one of the masks we return to him, each with a different respective type. This is the first time terastallization is used in the DLC as well. First off, it's against his Hearthflame mask. Unknowing of how Ogerpon would start, I sent out Bellamere before promptly switching into Chugjug, and obliterated it with Aqua Tails. The next mask was the Wellspring mask. I tanked a hit and had Chugjug Body Slam. This continued as I didn't really have anyone to take on water types, and once I was low and it was around half health, I switched in Cha-Cha Slide. I set up a Dragon Dance, and then almost kill it with a close combat. I finished it on the next turn. Then came the Cornerstone mask, which I faced against with Bellamere. I sent it to sleep with Hypnosis, and whittled away at its health with Hex. When it woke up, I switched to using Extrasensory. Once I had it real low, I healed up Chugjug for the next phase, before finishing it off. So, against the Teal Mask, before switching into Chugjug, I had Bellamere send Ogerpon to sleep, avoiding the chance of getting one-shot. I terastallized Chugjug to get rid of the water typing, and killed Ogerpon with avalanches. Once all 4 stages were defeated, Ogerpon joined the squad as my encounter for the dreaded den. I named it Onion, because it's a grass type, and onions have layers, and ogres have layers, and Ogerpon too has layers. Well, now it's finally time to talk about him. I think all of Ogerpon's masks are really cool, especially the Teal and Cornerstone masks. It's definitely the best part of his design, because I don't like the rest of it, really. Without the mask, he's kind of lame and ugly. I understand why the villagers from the legend shunned this fella, but its boss battle is awesome, and that's gotta be worth something. The next day, one of the weird kids who joined you in the trip tells us that Carmine is waiting for us at Loyalty Plaza. She challenges us to a battle. I started off with Ogerpon and one-shot her Mightyena with a superpower. I used Chugjug to rip through her Ninetales. I had Cha-Cha Slide against Morpeko. I got paralyzed by a Thundershock, but one-shot it with close combat. It held on with Focus Sash though. Next turn, I killed it. I kept Cha-Cha Slide in against Sinistcha, but it one-shot Cha-Cha Slide with a boosted Hex.
Cha-Cha real smooth.
I brought out Bellamere. I just barely survived another Hex, but hit off a Hypnosis, 2 boosted Hexes, and I got it. Bellamere was low, Chugjug was low, Cha-Cha Slide was dead, and Luffy was pretty underleveled. So I brought Onion back in. Now, at this point in time, I never bothered to check how Ogerpon worked in battles. I just assumed that I could choose any of the 4 masks when I terastallized. I was wrong. I was stuck with the grass type, and my superpower wasn't very effective. The Leavanny used X-Scissor, and Onion was one-shot killed. God fucking damn it. I swapped Bellamere back in, and healed up on my turn. I got it real low with some extra sensories, but didn't reckon I could take another hit. So despite being 12 levels lower, I brought out Luffy for the first time. He kills her with a flame wheel, and that concludes the battle. Holy shit, she's about to confess. God damn it, Briar, you fucking whore. Okay, rain check. Get back to me on that dial. Everyone except Kieran. He's still sulking about how much he sucks. Show up at Masui Town, and everyone returns to Paldea, save for myself and Carmine, who have been asked to stay back. We then see a little cutscene of Kiki about to go through his Menace arc, and then to be continued. Okay, well, that's the story. Pretty fucking shit, honestly. But I had a couple of things to do before I closed the game. I went to capture the Loyalty 3. First up, Monkey Dory. Easy. And because I had avoided all encounters in Wistful Fields, this meant that he was my encounter for the route, and I could use him. I named him Cheeks. Next up, I fought Pheasantipede. Now, Pheasantipede sucks at battling. It only has 1 damage dealing move, Beat Up, which did fuck all. But this Pokemon is the fucking bane of my existence because its catch resistance is through the fucking roof. I used a total of 1 Quick Ball, 1 Netball, 16 Ultra Balls, 3 timer balls, and 1 great ball, and still, it wouldn't stay in the fucking ball. So I waited 20 minutes until it had turned to night and used 5 dusk balls. Still, nothing. I used another great ball and still it wouldn't work. I was out of any Pokeball that stood a chance of getting this capture, and I knew it had to have been really low on move PP. To avoid letting it struggle to death, I used my fucking Master Ball. Thankfully, because I had yet to have an encounter at Oni Mountain, she was legal, and I named her Yugiri. The final of the Loyalty 3D capture was Okie Dokie. Unfortunately, however, as he is found in Paradise Barrens, and Cha-Cha Slider was already my encounter for the route, I couldn't use him. But like the legendaries from the base game, I was fine with just having them sit in my box. Though, that wouldn't be the case, as I misclicked and killed him. Fuck it, whatever. The last thing I wanted to do was capture some new Pokemon from the DLC, because I had yet to see a fucking single new Pokemon in the wild. I knew that Poltergeist and Dipplin had to spawn somewhere. I checked Apple Hills for Dipplin, and nothing. I couldn't find one. I accidentally ran into an Applin though, so I caught it as I had no encounters for the route, and named it Bananarama. But it was no Dipplin. I searched everywhere I could think, and still found nothing. Fuck it. Hey yo, what the hell's going on here? So I changed focus and looked for a Poltergeist. It's a ghost type, so it probably spawns at night, and right I was. In Muskfell Confluence, I caught one as my encounter, and named it Splooge. I already had the cup for it to evolve, so it immediately became a Sinistcha. Awesome. However, while I was in Muskfell Confluence, I also found this little building which has a stall that sells syrupy apples. And then it clicked. Dipplin wasn't a convergent Applin. It was an evolution. So I evolved Bananarama into a Dipplin, and was very disappointed knowing that the cunt didn't evolve. Well, what can you do? I had done everything there was to do in Kitakami, so I packed my shit and returned to the comfort of my love, Nurse Miriam. The end. Pokémon Scarlet and Violet, the Teal Mask DLC, is 5 hours of nothingness. It is a nothing burger that cost me $52 Australian. I'll admit that Carmine grew on me over the course of the game, so she went from annoying to tolerable. I enjoy the fact that we bullied Kieran together, because Kieran is the absolute fucking worst. Like, fuck this kid. And every other character is like, who are you? Thankfully, traversing the land wasn't a pain, but I don't think it was intentional. Because once you climb Oni Mountain with Koraidon and get the Crystal Pool waypoint, you can just glide down into any route in a matter of seconds, bypassing all the caves or paths. And then you can just teleport everywhere after visiting. The rest of the game is incredibly easy, save for battles towards the end. Carmine and Kiki don't really pose a threat until their last battles, and that's only because all of their Pokemon were of a higher level than mine, because I spent 0 time training. I enjoyed all the legendary fights. I felt they were all somewhat challenging. However, I will say that would have been way cooler if each of the Loyalty 3 wore and terrestrialized the mask they stole in a second phase or something. And the battle against Ogerpon was fun. But, speaking of terrestrialization, no one uses it. Other than Ogerpon, no one terrestrializes. And I won't complain too much because I already thought it was a shitty gimmick, so less might be better. But they just completely removed the whole main gimmick from the game. Everything looks so barren, empty, and ugly, to be honest. The environment is still barren, and that goes for the town/locations as well. So nothing's worth exploring. The only reason to explore is to see what Pokemon spawn. But other than Jangmo-o, nothing felt worth catching. And there were like no new Pokemon. There were the legendaries, Dipplin, Poltergeist, and Sinistcha. That's it. No Paradox Pokemon. No nothing. Hi, this is Editing Cody. Turns out I was wrong. There is one more new Pokemon introduced in the Teal Mask. Blood Moon Ursaluna. This guy is fucking wild. I absolutely adore its design. To get it, however, you have to complete all of Perrin's quests, which actually look pretty cool. Unfortunately, however, the Nuzlocke stops me from being able to do this. The entire DLC is literally a series of going to one location, sitting through heaps of dialogue, and battling Carmine or Kieran. The only redeemable part are the legendary fights, but it's really hard to fuck up a classic Pokemon battle. There was one mini-game that was at all different, Ogre Oustin, but that sucks as well. It is the most baby brain thing I have ever seen. Though the sound design of the game is great, we still have no fucking voice acting, but at least the music is always bopping. That's about everything there is to say about the Teal Mask DLC. Let us pay our respects to our fallen comrades. Boeing 767, Goon, Garchomp, Cha-Cha Slide. Editing Cody, back again. Yeah, Onion died as well. He dead. Okay, bye. And let us commend the valiant efforts of our survivors. Bellamere, the MVP of the playthrough. Chug Jug, the MVP from the base game. Luffy, the Pokemon I received at the start and raised till the end, who only ever attacked once to win the final battle. And then we have the addition of Cheeks the Monkey Dory, as well as Ugiri the Pheasantipede, and Splooge the Sinistcha. This will be our team going forward into part 2, the Indigo Disc. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope my pain of sitting through this game was worth it. I'll see yous around.